Now, the Desmond and Leah Tutu Legacy Foundation says an upcoming South African naval exercise with Russia is disgraceful. The Archbishop Tutu IP Trust has also released the statement saying that the naval exercise amounts to South Africa joining the war on Ukraine. South Africa is due to conduct joint naval exercises with Russia and China off the coast of Durban next month. We're now joined by Dr Mamphela Ramphele, chair of the Tutu IP Trust. Doctor, thank you for being with us. Why are you so alarmed? Tell us more.
Good evening, Francis, and good evening to your listeners. We are a country that has been able to become free of apartheid because of international solidarity. We are a country which assumed and committed to human rights and protection thereof in our constitution, but also as signed up members of the United Nations. For South Africa, at a time when Russia is targeting civilians for bombing and having started a war without provocation with a neighboring country simply because the leader of Russia wants to reestablish some Soviet hegemony, is unconscionable. We can't be seen to be on the side of the oppressor, the abuser of human rights, as a country whose constitution is founded on respect and protection of human rights.
Doctor, some would say, however, if we want to avoid oppressors around the world, there will be very few nations left that we can have relations with. And of course, then we're part of this BRICS grouping. So unless we leave that, we're bound to have a relationship. These exercises have been done before in that context. Should we rock the BRICS boat, even though it has potentially many benefits for South Africa?
We are a country that committed ourselves not to be bought by material benefits into relationships that are abuses of human rights, that violate human rights. It is not a good enough reason that because we are members of BRICS with China and Russia, we should therefore do their bidding. We have very little military capability. Remember that there was a time when we tried to intervene in Lesotho, we could hardly be able to measure up to the Lesotho military establishment. We now are involved correctly as part of SADC in Mozambique, and the conduct of our military in that country is also now subject to a lot of scrutiny, as has been the case everywhere where we've been. So South Africa's strength in international relationships is not in the field of military engagement. We are supposed to be a country that was correctly lauded for our courage to settle disputes through discussion. That's what we should have been known to be involved in with regard to the Ukraine-Russian war, that Russia visited upon a Ukraine that was not at war with Russia.
Well, you've touched on two important issues here. Firstly, you said we have little military capability. The Minister, Naledi Pandor, says the Navy wants to be better and we can learn from a nation like Russia. Does that argument have any standing with you?
Absolutely none. We made and committed to an arms deal in the very early days of our democracy, and it was a disaster. We bought weapons we didn't know how to use just having a military exercise, which is in fact a symbolic signal to the international world where we stand militarily. To do that in the name of wanting to make our Navy better is naive, to put it very gently, but I think it's disingenuous.
And you mentioned diplomacy. South Africa, it seems, wants to be a peace broker. It says it's not taking sides, it's being neutral. I mean, if we cancelled something like this, would that not undermine the potential if South Africa is ever put in that position? Absolutely.
I mean, President Ramaphosa was a very important voice in settling the Irish disputes, the conflicts. And we were lauded for using our experience of settling a very brutal, long struggle in this country through negotiations. And so he played that important role both here at home and in Ireland. Now, that reputation is now in tatters with this kind of recklessness of inviting two very outside partners to come and play in our naval waters.
All right, thank you. Expanding on a statement released earlier by the Tutu IP Trust saying that this naval exercise with Russia is disgraceful. That was the chair of the trust, Dr Mamphela Ramphele. Unfortunately, we lost the line at the end, but I think we got the gist of what she was saying.